everybody? It's Evan Jackson, CEO of Young, Bold, and Regal. We're going to do an amazing interview with the one and only Rio Summers. You've seen her on America's Next Top Model. You've seen her on a lot of things. You've seen her as an actress. There we go.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Great, great. I'm living my best life. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Okay.
So I want to introduce the people to you. You're an amazing actress, author, mentor. People have seen you, maybe seen you on America's Next Top Model, Cycle 24. Maybe they've seen you out and about on a commercial or a campaign, or maybe in a music video, or maybe in a movie. But how I met you, I think it was before you went on America's Next Top Model, and you were just this big, bright ball of like energy.
Well,
And I think I told you right then and there, you'll be a star. So I want you to introduce yourself as well, of course.
Okay, so what's up, you guys? Thank you, Evan. My name is Rio Summers. That's pretty much, Evan hit it right on, what's the expression? The nail on the head. I always but yeah, you know what, we met during, I think it was Style Fashion Week, like, something like that, where it was like early on in my career, and I was trying to figure everything out, and I think I looked quite different at the time.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned the hair. We love that you switch up the hair every now and then, quite often recently too.
Yeah. So my hairstylist and I are having a lot of fun playing with color, and at this point in my career, I feel like it's something that not only I have the right to do, but I want to do. So
Exactly. And it was interesting. We tuned into your live a couple of days ago. You said that you really love the space that you're in. You really love what you're doing right now. And I think one of the questions we asked you was, what was the biggest lesson you've learned in 2020? So we want to just reiterate that. You don't have to say the same exact thing,
right.
But the way you answered that was incredible.
Thank you. So one of the biggest lessons that I learned in 2020 is that things can change at the drop of a hat, which I kind of already knew as someone who has faced, traumatic health issues, loss, all sorts of stuff. This year really taught me that you have to be able to reinvent. You have to be able to adapt. Adaptation is such a huge thing, not only in Hollywood, but just for life in general. So, it went from like, I was doing all these auditions, maybe like 20 auditions in a week.
Yeah.
And I was flying around Los Angeles like
wow,
crazy. It was stressing me out. But now I've been able not only to like take some time off, but reflect. And thank God I've still been working during the pandemic. Things have been going really well for me. I learned a lot about my patience with the industry. I learned a lot about self-taping, because oh my God, I was so stressed out by that. I finally am getting the hang of it though. And because I've like taken the time to kind of figure these things out, I'm actually booking more work than I have. My rates are going up. Like
there you go. Price going up for sure.
So biggest lesson is like, be willing to adapt, be willing to learn, and find out who the hell you are. Excuse my language, but this is like the only time that we really have to like, who are you? What do you want?
Exactly.
Some of us had to sit with ourselves for a long period of time. I didn't go out of the house when this pandemic first happened. I want to say for like 6 weeks.
Wow.
It was like in the house with myself. So I figured out like, all right, now remember, you wanted all this time to clean. You wanted all this time to like,
yeah, you got all the time.
And I gotta say, shout out to my boy Sims. Sims is actually one of the people who ended up putting me on America's Next Top Model. So he's in here watching right now. So what up, Sims?
What up, Sims?
But yeah, definitely. There's been so many different lessons, Evan. What about you? What's the biggest lesson you've learned?
I feel like the biggest lesson for me is just being grateful, be grateful for everything. Even if it didn't turn out 100% my way, that's okay. As long as you got the opportunity. And I've become very outcome independent, meaning that if it's a quote unquote loss or win, that doesn't matter. It mattered that I gave it my all, and a win will come out of that eventually. And
right.
That lesson, also just learning that things can be taken away from you at the drop of the hat, and that's okay. You have to adjust, and you have to think more creatively, and you have to be better. So since during this time. Young Bold and Regal YouTube page has been really like taking off for about like 390,000 views right now. Last December we were like at 100,000 views.
Period.
So so
Okay.
when we put this up on YouTube, it's gonna probably be even more because you're a star, of course. And then I also wanted to touch on that as well, your time on America's Next Top Model. I remember finding that you'd be on there, and I'd be like, wow, I've met her before in person. Granted, it was once, but I'm like, she's going to be great on it. I see it, you're great on it. And then I go online, and it's like a schism of like, you have a fan base that loves you, and there's like, go Rio, and then you have another mix of people who are like, don't like that you stand up for yourself, and you have a personality, and some people might call that haters, and I feel like some people were hating on that fact. Were you ever at one point frustrated with the perception you got from that, the feedback, or were you just like taking it all in?
Yes, as a matter of fact, you missed my live earlier. I was going off because there's just certain times where, you know, Top Model, I understand the show is premiering all over the place at any time. For that happened 3 years ago, though.
Yeah.
For me, like I'm not that same person, but people kind of expect me to
exactly
be that person, and I'm like, no. First of all, that's a reality TV show. If you have any kind of common sense, you should already know like
editing, all that.
Yeah, so it definitely, there's been times where I was extremely triggered, especially in the beginning, because people will say things about like, you know, it's one thing to attack me. I'm a public figure. I get it. Like, you're gonna come and say some crazy stuff, but don't attack my family. Do not. There's certain boundaries. We don't go there. And once you trigger that within me, I'm sorry, I'm from Detroit. I think some of y'all forget.
Oh yeah. Bring that Detroit. Bring that Detroit out of you. They're gonna get that Detroit.
Earlier, Evan, I was on live and I was like, listen, you keep sending me these crazy messages. I protected you. I wasn't letting out your screen names and stuff, but now.
Yeah, exactly. And to everybody on this live, Rio is one of the most sweetest people I've ever met, but at the same time, the sweetest person in the world. They're not going to take your junk from you online. We're not going to do that. We're going to end bullying. We're going to end racism online and in the world, because there's no place for that, right?
Oh, and it's like, if you don't like something, do you think that I like every human being on the face of this planet? No. But like, I go out of my way to try to, you know, make them feel some type of way. But I would say being on ANTM definitely made my skin so much thicker. You could probably call me any name under the sun.
Wow.
You don't know me. You don't know me. Like,
I like that. That's the response. You need to copyright that. You don't know me, right?
I didn't in the streets, but shorty, you don't know.
Okay, there's that Detroit. There's that Detroit. Speaking about Detroit, I feel like there's a newfound love and appreciation for it in the last 10 or 20 years. People thinking about its legacy with Motown, but not only that, the legacy of the people. Big Sean coming out with Detroit 2 coming out yes. in a couple weeks. And he talks about in that album where he had to go home to his roots, how he had to be connected. So what does that mean for you when it comes to Detroit? Not only necessarily the city, but your family, what your roots are, how you describe that.
So coming from Detroit, one thing that I will say is, if you notice, a lot of us are extremely loyal to the city. You know, we started the movement Detroit versus everybody.
Yeah.
Now, you know, you got Los Angeles versus everybody.
yeah. All these spin-offs when, you know, LA is split between Lakers and Clippers. Detroit is Detroit strong.
If you're from Detroit, you're from Detroit, and people don't like, if you're from the city, we don't argue. We're like, okay, you're one of us. So growing up, you know, there's a lot of pride there. When we went through the recession, which was extremely hard, not only for most of America, but it hit Detroit in a very special way. I think that we were kind of forced. That's why we made the slogan, Detroit versus everybody.
Exactly.
We felt completely abandoned. And we all had to band together in order to make it through, you know, between the recession, Kwame Kilpatrick. I don't know if you remember that mess. Yeah, and that we really felt betrayed. So what did we do in response to that? I was proud. We kind of united as a city. Was there a lot of killing? Was there a lot of senseless stuff going on? Absolutely. But the core of us that actually care about the city, we were banding together, and I think that's taught me a lot about loyalty, which is something I carry with myself in my career.
Yeah.
It's taught me a lot about treating folks with kindness and being delicate, because you never know what somebody is going through, including myself. I've been homeless quite a few times, and nobody's fault. It's really not. Well, it definitely is one person's fault, but that person, it's not, it was never my mom's fault. It was never my family's fault. Like that. Things happen. But all in all, I think my upbringing just made me so strong. I think it made me so resilient, and I was taught tools early on that I needed to be at this point, if that makes sense.
And that's what's so amazing about your story. It's not only what people see and might be the perceived highlights, but the fact that you talk about your health issues, that you talk about being homeless and where you are now. And I like the fact where you say where you are now isn't intrinsically tied to your career all the time. You said during those 6 weeks you had to focus on yourself. But I also like the part of your career where you are a mentor and an author. I want you to speak to that a little bit.
Okay, yeah. So I didn't think a book was going to come so early in my life. I wrote that with my partner Ashley when I was 24 or 25. I'm 26 now, so it's pretty recent. I knew I would be an author and a mentor. I knew I would go that route, but for it to happen so fast, I'm not even 30 years old yet. Like, like, whoa, people actually care about what I say and how I move. And so that's been crazy. We wrote Posing 101 with the intention of teaching models how to pose. But my mind, and I know Ashley's mind too, kind of expanded at one point. We were like, hey, we could write this book for anybody. You know how many, oh my God, story time. My family, they give me hell about taking pictures with me. They're like, my friends do too. They're like, I don't want to like stand next to you. Like, you know exactly what you're doing and you're hitting all these angles and I'm just standing here like. So I finally got sick of hearing that. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just write a book for y'all now. And everybody's going to get a copy. And when I come home for the holidays, you better have studied this book, because
everybody gets at least one pose from the book. Get it in.
Exactly. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Shooting that book though, oh my God, Evan. So they told me, yeah, you're gonna shoot. It's 101 poses. So start thinking of what that looks like for you. So they're like, all right, you're gonna shoot today. We've got 4 hours. Me in my mind, I'm like, okay, so this is day 1 of shooting. I'm gonna go in there, maybe probably do like no more than half. They're like, no, you're doing the entire book today. Like, you are shooting 101 poses. Hope you're ready. This is the only time we have to do it. So I was like, so scared. But I ended up I did it. And it took the whole 4 hours, but I came up with those poses. We named them. And yeah, it's been really crazy to see how people implement that in their life. My grandma's got a copy.
Okay, shout out to grandma. That's dope.
Yeah, and then as far as being a mentor, I think when I was first starting in my career, I won't lie, I was very vain. It was about me. It was about, I want to be famous. I want to be this. I want that. And I kept running into these either dead ends, or I was running into people that were really, like, I'm sorry, disgusting. I was running into bad opportunities.
Wow.
So like, what is the disconnect here? I started thinking, maybe if I give to others, and I think, how can I help this little 12-year-old girl who clearly, she sees me and she starts crying. She thinks I'm like, I'm still a person, but I have a heart. And so I'm like, how can I give back? How can I make this something that not only touches me, but touches other people? And I was like, you got to make it more about the people. You have to make it about, how can I help you? What are your goals? Take this advice from me. When I decided that I had the capacity to be a teacher and I had the compassion to be a teacher, everything switched. That's when I was like, okay, now I'm getting these solid opportunities. People, I hear all day about my energy, all day. how I have the best energy and stuff. It's because I'm a naturally happy person. I give back to the community.
One of the best moments to clue guys, everybody in about how genuine Rio is. I don't think for some point, I don't think I saw her for like a year or 2 years. And then I told her more about Young, Bold, and Regal. And she says, how can we help? How can I help? So that's the definition of who Rio is. And that was real. That was really sweet. And that was very endearing because I was like, wow, like, I don't know if she even remembered me or follow up with me, but that shows the genuine side of who you are and how you give back. And a part of that too is that you're very humble, because I saw your live a couple days ago. I think somebody in the comments mentioned you being a supermodel, and I think you said something like, "Oh no, I'm not. Like, I don't consider myself a supermodel." In my opinion, you've done international campaigns, you've done well-known campaigns, you've done purposeful campaigns with big brands. And when I think supermodel, I'm thinking the classic 90s bag with Naomi, Tyra, and it's not only and it's not only that fact that they are doing these campaigns, right? It's similar to an A-list celebrity or A-list movie star. There's stars, there's movie stars, then there's, you know, Leo and Viola and the people you think automatically. So when I think supermodels, I think of you, right? But I'm not going to put you on the spot and say, how do you think you're a supermodel? Well, all right. I'll ask you that, and also, what is your definition of that as well?
First up, I'll shout out to my mom. She's in here watching right now. I just saw her come in. And then I try, because my ego at one point did get extremely inflated. So I always try to remind myself, like, maybe other people consider me a supermodel, but I consider myself Rio. And I just do like what Rio does. That's as simple as that to me. If you want to call me a supermodel, I'm honored. But I do my thing. And I think the minute you kind of say, like, yeah, I'm a supermodel, you like thinking, it becomes, you know, you become too big for your britches. And
yeah. And I think it's a good balance too, because you want to have that humbleness, that modesty, but at the same time, when you go at that business table, if you've been doing all of this work, it's not all for naught. You want that person on the other side to show you that respect in that contract or whatever the dealings are when it comes to doing that. What do you think is the biggest misconception of yourself? I know that's a loaded question because there's so many sides to you, but go off.
Oh my God. People really think, and again, circling back to ANTM, people really think that you're not allowed to grow. Like, once you present yourself,
yeah,
you have to stay that forever. Otherwise,
yep.
What are you doing? And da 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 da. Or a lot of people, they are out of touch with reality. Like I said, they see the show and they don't even take the time to do the research on me. They just run with what they saw in an hour.
Yeah, run with the 5-second or 10-second clip.
And it's confusing. Like, people come at me and, oh my God, it's been from all different types. It's so hard to explain. It's like exhausting almost, but
it is exhausting and draining.
What I want to say is, like, I wish people would really sit back. If you find out my story and who I am and what I've been through, it's not an excuse. It's not like, I'm proud of it. I'm still, I want to be a beacon of light. Excuse me. I want to have my story told for the positive, because there's some little girl or some little boy who probably is looking up to me or wants to be in my shoes, in my position at some point. I have to be a role model for that person. I can't be mean-spirited. I can't be nasty. And I'm not. And I think I have proven that. The people who do love me, my warriors, my fans, that's what they're called, the warriors. Shout out to my
There we go.
Up in here, let's go.
And her fans, she has a really great positive fan base.
Yes.
They are very loyal, but they're very positive.
But they don't play about me.
They don't.
They're like, Who do we need to talk to?
Yeah.
So, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. And I always try to keep that in mind. I don't want to be someone who is, oh, go attack this person.
Yeah.
But you're not going to play with me, though. Let's
Yeah.
Exactly.
You could be nice. I tell everybody, you could be very nice and kind, but with very set boundaries and barriers to what you want.
Exactly. So, if anyone is watching this, I encourage you, if you are a fan of mine or you're interested in who I am, please do your research, because there's a lot to know. But you could answer a lot of questions just doing a little bit of research before
Exactly. So basically, make sure you come correct, because Rio doesn't play, and on top of that, she's a great person. Once you talk correct, once you come to her correct, oh, it's all great.
Yeah.
If you don't, it's a wrap for you.
It's dangerous out here, child.
Mm-hmm. So we talked about the effects of COVID on your career and your personal life. How has the effects of the Black Lives Matter movement, the uprising, had effect on your personal life, what you've seen, what your thoughts are?
Okay, so when everything erupted with the George Floyd situation, for me, that's the point where it got like, whew, everything took off.
Mm-hmm.
I actually was dating someone who is an immigrant, and him and his friends, it was like we were all on the same page, but it started this conversation, and it was a very powerful conversation. It was how, you know, immigrants are misunderstood and they just go missing sometimes, and that's not being talked about.
Yeah.
And I'm telling them, I'm like, this movement is so important because this is the beginning of us. We're not stopping with just Black people. It was never just about Black. This was about people of color in general. And so I've lost some friends because I saw people saying nothing. And to me, silence is complacency.
Yeah.
You're complacent with what's going on. That's not cool. You cannot be around me. You cannot be around my family, not in my energy bubble. If you are okay, silence is not okay.
Exactly.
Silence is picking a side. So I lost some friends. I had to chew some people out, but I chewed them out in a way where it was like loving. And by the end, I understood like, oh, this is why it's such a big deal. And this is why I should be talking about it. A lot of my friends, God bless them, but Evan, I'm sure you got this too. Like your white friends or your friends that are not of color. They're like, are you okay? What's going on? And you're kind of like,
exactly. Like I had, I'm not going to put their name out there, but I had one white friend of mine. They're like, crazy times right now. And I'm kind of like, I've been living through this since I was walking home from school. My mom gave me a talk and she reminded me of Rodney King and all of that. Like you and I, in some big or small way, have always known this and have this on our consciousness and on our hearts. So the awakening for white people, part of it's refreshing because they get it. A part of it's annoying because it's like, I know, like my Black life has always mattered. Even before I was born, it mattered.
Right. But it's just a lot of people I noticed too, they didn't, because it wasn't them and it wasn't, it didn't apply. So it was like, oh, it doesn't exist almost. But when you bring it to their attention, like, yo, and you start schooling them, like, hey, my grandparents lived through the Detroit riots and stuff.
Yeah.
When you start telling people, like, this has been going on, now all of a sudden it's, oh my God, like, it's this whole explosion.
Yeah, it's a revelation for them.
Yeah, and I'm very proud of most people. I'm very proud, trying their best. For me personally, though, like I said, I lost some friends, and I was able to be a teacher in a different situation.
Hey, I love that. So not only is Rio an author, a mentor, an actress, she is an educator and a teacher, not only relegated to modeling, but about life, because she's lived an incredible life. And like she said, she's not even 30 yet. So we can't we can't wait. We can't wait to see what's next.
The next 10, 20 years are going to be like, I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah. One final interesting question, because of course you would play your own self in a film, right? But if you had the option to choose somebody else, who would play you in a movie role in your biopic?
Ooh. Ooh. First person that comes to mind is Zendaya.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and she could totally like have the short pixie bob, however she wants to do that. But yeah, I think Zendaya, I would say Rihanna, but Rihanna's older than I am. You know, so Zendaya.
I see it. You want to scale a little, skew a little younger so they could play you at you know.
Yeah,
I feel it.
Me coming up from, I want to say from like 15 to now. So the last 11 years of my life, I need someone who's able to have that range. And I could make Zendaya look younger. And
yeah. Shout out to Zendaya for her first Emmy nomination. Euphoria is amazing.
Yes,
I'm gonna need her in the I'm gonna need her in the right. I'm gonna need her in the Rio Summers biopic. And I'm gonna need all those Hollywood executives to hire Rio, not only as an actress, but as a producer. She has a lot of great ideas. She's incredible. She's amazing. Do you have one final message you want to give the audience and to the Young, Bold, and Regal audience?
I do, but before we go there, because that's going to be like some deep off my chest type message.
Yeah.
I want to mention that I have a movie coming out in 2021.
It's
The Rideshare Killer. So if you Google that, it's on my IMDb. If you Google me, stay tuned. The release date is to be determined, but it will come out in 2021. So that's my first film debut. I'm super excited about that.
That's going to be awesome.
Next month, I will be, I can't say with who yet. It's one of your favorite global franchises.
Okay.
I have a commercial coming out next month in September, and that'll be all over the place. So I'm really excited to see what doors that opens. And yeah, I'm supposed to be shooting some more movies coming up in the future. We'll see how that goes, but you guys, I'm transitioning to the silver screen.
There we go. The growth, allowing people to grow into whatever they want to be.
So I'm sorry. What was the question?
The question is, what do you want? What do you want your? Let me rephrase the question. What do you want the message of your career and your life to be, going forward?
You made me nervous with that question.
Yeah, no.
That's a big one. I honestly want people to look back on me and say, this girl has faced so many different obstacles from the time she was born to the time, she unfortunately passed away or whatever. I want people to see my story and see the strength and know that they can accomplish anything. The odds have really been stacked against me, and I still was like, you know what, my faith in God, you guys got to be spiritual. I don't know what you believe in individually, but faith will take you a really long way. Confidence in yourself, not arrogance, confidence, knowing your worth, and then aiming for longevity. When I came into this, I never wanted my career to just be 2 years long. I wanted, this is who I am. This is what I want to do to the day that I die. So I want people to be able to not only have the strength to feel empowered to do whatever it is they love, I want them to see the work that I put into it and how much it means to me. This is not a game. So I hope that answers.
You know what? In every biopic, they have that one monologue, and that's the center monologue, and the scene ends. That's it right there. Right? Somebody else is gonna be playing me, Michael B. Jordan, maybe, you never know. And they're gonna be talking to, each other, and then boom, scene ends, right?
You're so funny.
So everybody, my audience, her audience, please look out for more movie roles, more movies from Rio, everything from Rio, because she's a multi-talented author, actress, mentor, teacher, educator. Fuck it, I'll say it. Producer. Let's get it off.
Also,
look for her film debut.
I don't know where I am, but I'm in the studio too. So
hey, there we go. In the studio.
Music.
There we go.
Funny. No, I've said this since the beginning of my career, but I'm such a perfectionist with my music. So I'm like, ooh. But I used to want to do music just to be like Beyonce for the charts, for the accolades. But again, had to tweak my thinking.
Yeah.
And I don't even care. Like, I would release music just to release music. So the first song that I have, I'm actually releasing, I want to say in October. It's with my friend DJ Robot. Robot Dream. So you guys check Robot Dream out if you're interested. He's a dope guy. I shot the Traffic music video with him. You know who I'm talking about? The one with the robot head?
Yeah.
Have you seen that video? The Traffic video?
I've only seen like a snippet of that video.
Okay, well, that's who I'm making a song with. So look out for that, you guys. I'm back in the studio.
All right. I just want to ask one final question just to get it in real quick.
Okay.
You've lived such a full life, but what do you feel is the boldest move you've done in your life? Something that reaffirmed your path or sets you on a different path?
Can you say that one more time? I'm sorry.
So what's the boldest move you've ever done in your life?
Oh my God. Well, there's plenty. Jesus, this is another, you're grilling me over here. The first one that came to mind was the decision to move to Los Angeles 6 months out of having my brain surgery.
Wow.
I packed up with like $800 and then I didn't really know what was going to happen. I decided to go sleep in my friend's living room. She had just gotten an apartment in Southern California in LA. And I just decided, hey, it's now or never. I know my mother, I know my family. If I ever needed to come back, if it failed, at least I could say that I tried. I knew I had places to go back to. But if I were to just sit there and be compliant with whatever was happening around me, and I'll just get a regular job and I'll just do this, and I would have hated myself down the road. I never even tried. So it was more of a decision like, are you going to try and fail? Or are you just going to not even try at all and have that regret sitting on you, the what if, for the rest of your life? So I think that's the boldest thing I ever did, because it was hard. As soon as I got here, oh my God. As soon as I got here, we went to Walmart. All right. And I'm like, remember, I have $800. So I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. You out here, like, I'm balling out here.
Yeah, I'm like, it's going to be $50. Mind you, I'm like 20 years old at the time. I'm like, it's going to be $50 for what I need. I spent $200 off top. Off top. Just trying to buy regular things that I needed. And then the end of the first month living here, I couldn't pay my rent. I had to borrow the remainder from my friend's brother.
Wow.
Who was like 17 years old at the time. I felt so like,
oh my gosh.
Oh, but that was definitely the boldest thing I did. I had to start hustling. I had to figure out what California lifestyle was like and how much money that takes. And child, it's a lot. But
yeah. So anybody coming to LA to live out their dreams, extremely expensive city. But if you find yourself on your feet, it's a very, very giving city. I think the perception sometimes of LA, where it's heartless, it's relentless, it's gutless.
Right.
Yeah, that's all across the world. But if you meet the right people and have the right mindset, LA is beautiful place.
Oh, it's so awesome. You meet so many people that are diverse across the board.
Man, it's some people are like so low key with what they do, and you bump into them at a party or somewhere else, and they're like, yeah, I do this, and I'm like, what the heck? And they're like, are you free next week? I'm like, duh. So I think a lot of the times it's your mindset and it's your attitude, and I feel like that's gotten you incredibly far, and we're all thankful for it.